That was a one chorus solo on jazz blues in the key of F. In this video, I'm going to share with you some techniques that I use there that you can apply to your own playing. First, let's talk about the key and the progression. So in the key of F, we have a tonic F. So the progression goes like this. We have the 1 chord, we have the 4 chord, and then it's pretty common to play sharp 4 diminished, and then we're going back to the 1 chord. You play a 2-5 to the 4 chord. And then again, play the sharp 4 diminished. Play F7. We'll play 3-6 2, 5, and then a 1, 6, 2, 5, and then we're back at the top of the form. So again, back to the tonic. So we want to be able to hear this note throughout and understand that it's where things want to gravitate towards. And we can, of course, use all of those chord tones through the progression in order to outline some of those changes. So a couple basic things you want to be able to do, play chord tones through the solo. So on like that. So if you can play chord tones and create melodies in that way, then you'll have a firm connection between the rhythm section and what you're playing. Now here's a little tip on that, which might seem kind of obvious, but if you miss this, then your lines will sound detached. So let's say we're playing F7, and we're creating a simple melodic line just with basically arpeggios on F7. You take the very last note that you've played and connect that stepwise in either direction to the next chord tone for the next chord, like B flat 7. Right? So if you play something like, okay, then you've come up with a stepwise kind of melodic line rather than playing like, which sounds a little bit more like an exercise or maybe like ahead of a tune or something then, rather than like an improvisation. So be able to start from various notes within a chord. So you might be on F7, you might say, I'm gonna start on A here. And move from there. You can go through and solo on the tune once and evaluate where you're strong and where you're weak. So go back and address those weaknesses. So let's say we're on the 3 and the 6, A minor 7 to D7. You can work on those changes. So A minor 7, D7, and get comfortable with that shift. And then you might isolate D7 going to the G minor. So then go back and play through it again, reevaluate. Did you get stronger at that? If not, go back on and work on it more. Sometimes the results won't show up for a while. So a jazz blues progression is really just blues, but there's sort of a convention of using maybe more 2/5s and a little more motion, circle of fifths kinds of things with the root movement and all that. So you can take any of the language that you may have developed from playing standards and apply it especially to those 2/5s. And you can even build in chord progressions that are not actually being played by the rhythm section. So I'll show you about that. So right in between the 1 chord and that 3 chord, I like the sound of playing a B flat 7 in the middle there. So I might play something like into the D7. So what I did there was F7, B flat 7, A minor 7, and D7. So it gives it a little direction, a little more activity. You can superimpose that if you're playing with a group, and the group may catch on that you like that sound and follow you with it as well. Okay, let's talk about the flat third, flat 5, and the flat 7 in the key. So we talked about the tonic and the importance of the tonic earlier, F7, or just F on F7, but it's going to come up throughout. But you may have noticed at the beginning, I started out with a little shift into the third of the F7. Okay, so that would be a flat third. So you can look for opportunities within the progression for these tones and places to kind of fit those in. So playing a little bit on the F7, that works nicely, as well as something a little closer to the chord itself. Now that flat 5, you can find opportunities to play that as well. So in particular, if you're on the 4 chord and then you play that B diminished, I play something like, right? So that is the flat 5 right there. So I'm doing hammer on pull off here. Okay, and then I may play the same exact line an octave higher later. So that gives you the B natural that's right in the chord, which happens to be the flat 5 relative to the key center. Another place where that's going to fit in is on the G7. When we go into this F7, D7, G7, C7 on the G7, playing something kind of similar. Okay, so that gives me the opportunity to play that flat 5, or it gives us the opportunity, right? Okay, so you try to think about what tones are in the chord that might set up the flat 5 really nicely. Okay, so that covers a bit of the flat third, the flat 5. The flat 7, it's really kind of built right into the F7. Okay, it also works nicely on D7 as a flat 9. That pulls you to the 2 chord. So 5 of the 2. So as the progression goes through, track those 3 notes and get the feel for when it might be appropriate to place those in there. Let's talk a little bit more about flat 9s on dominant chords. So one thing I'm doing when it approaches the 4 chord, and we have the 5 of the 4 chord, really at the very last moment, I'll use a flat 9 on that because it flows really nicely. But one thing I would do is use that a little more towards the very end of the line so it connects. So. Okay, so it gives us a little motion like the half step motion. But as I mentioned before, you can do it on the 5 of the 2 as well. and the 5 of the 1. It works out pretty nicely if you start from the 3rd of the C, let's say, in this example. And so you get this kind of diminished sound. We talked about tones that lead up or kind of move chromatically in between some notes on F7. Let's talk about some other options there. So let's say we're using F dominant pentatonic, which is kind of simply just an F9 kind of sound. We can create little chromatic tones between the flat 7 and the root note. So and so that gives us an even number of tones, which can help our lines to flow and kind of make sense and connect. Because if you're playing continuous eighth notes for a period of time, then you'll be outlining the changes fairly smoothly. So you can also come up with other 6-note groups. So there I had F, G, A, C, D, E flat. And we can apply these to other dominant 7th chords. So get familiar with some of these note collections and you'll have the ability to work those into your melodic line. Before I sum up, please like and subscribe. Visit our website, fretprints.com, and sign up for a free trial to get more in depth with progressions like this one. And let me know if any of these things have helped you out. Just leave a comment down in the comment section. Okay, so to sum up, make sure you know a few note collections, real simple things like I mentioned before. Be able to play arpeggios so you can really clearly outline the changes. Be able to add a note to those, maybe a dominant pentatonic, major pentatonic, okay, minor pentatonic, you can apply over the whole progression. Okay, and then the minor blues. When playing jazz blues, we want to be able to describe some 2/5s and be able to outline the chords fairly clearly. So study various scales. I gave you some 6-note ideas. You can also play, of course, Mixolydian. Be able to understand that and apply that to other chords as well. B flat Mixolydian. So hear the changes, be able to play on specific chords, connect your lines. I hope you enjoyed this video. Enjoy your practice session, and I'll see you all in the next one.